What's up guys? Today I bring you a head-to-head comparison between two of the most wanted mid-range smartphones we have seen this year. We have the brand new Pixel 6a versus the Nothing Phone 1. So this is the clash of the mid-ranges, and in this video we are simply trying to find out what are the main differences between these two smartphones. Now let's start off with the prices. So both smartphones are priced $399, and for that price you get a 6+128 variant of the Pixel 6a and 8+128 variant of the Nothing Phone 1. So how do they feel in my hands? Well, the Pixel 6a feels like a plastic back with a matte finish, and on the official Google site they're calling it a 3D thermoformed composite back. So basically a form of thermoplastic, or it's simply known as plastic to me and you. The Nothing Phone 1 actually has a glass back with a metal frame going all the way around, and that's Gorilla Glass 5 on the back. Now build quality wise, they both actually feel quite solid. Even though the Pixel is made from plastic, the metal frame does feel very reassuring, and both phones feel premium in the hands and also well made and solid. And on a side note, I'm actually loving the new Pixel 6a design. If I quickly bring in the Pixel 6, you can see it's much smaller, but also the camera bump, and you can see the camera bump does not stick out as much as it used to. So it looks like Team Pixel is listening, and they have improved things design wise from the Pixel 6a. I'm really liking this form factor and the lighter camera bump design. The camera bump is nearly flat. This is what the original Pixel should have been like. So yeah, absolutely loving the design of both phones, but the Nothing Phone 1 takes the edge with its premium iPhone style design and the bonus glyph effects that you have on the back. Now if we look at the front, you can see the Nothing Phone 1 has a noticeably larger display and it's slightly bigger in dimensions. If we talk about thickness, the Pixel is 8.9mm thick versus 8.3mm thick. And the weight, Pixel weighs 178 grams versus 193 grams. So Pixel has a smaller display, it's slightly thicker but lighter in weight. Now let's quickly compare the ports. So you can see the Pixel has a microphone, Type-C port, antenna line and a single speaker. The Nothing Phone 1 has its SIM card tray, microphone, 2 antenna lines, Type-C charging and a single speaker. So we have a dual 5G SIM tray, and you can see my SIM has already been installed. Now on this side, the Pixel has an antenna line, power button, volume rocker and another antenna line. And the Nothing Phone 1 has an antenna line and a power button. And at the top of the phones, Pixel has microphone, 2 antenna lines, and the Nothing has 2 antenna lines and 1 microphone. Now both phones have their second speaker on the earpiece. And finally on this side, we've got 2 more antenna lines and a SIM card tray, and the Nothing Phone has 2 more antenna lines and volume rocker. So you can see this is a single 5G nano SIM card tray. You can only put 1 SIM card in here physically, but you can also connect an eSIM to the Google Pixel. Now both phones have a beautiful OLED display, but slightly different in size. Pixel 6a has a 6.1-inch 60Hz display, and the Nothing Phone 1 has a 6.55-inch 120Hz display. Pixel 6a has 429 pixels per inch, and the Nothing Phone 1 has 402 pixels per inch. Peak brightness, Pixel 1100 nits versus 1200 nits. Screen resolution 2400 by 1080 on both phones, that's Full HD plus. Also we have Gorilla Glass 3 versus Gorilla Glass 5. So the Nothing Phone 1 has a bigger screen, higher refresh rate and supports HDR10 plus. Furthermore, both smartphones have similar battery capacities. So the Pixel has a 4400 mAh cell versus 4500 in the Nothing Phone 1. Pixel 6a supports 18 watt fast charging versus 33 watt fast charging in the Nothing Phone 1. Pixel does not support wireless charging, but the Nothing Phone 1 supports 15 watt wireless charging and 5 watt reverse wireless charging. Both phones do have stereo speakers, which are nice and loud and produce great sounding audio. However, neither phone supports Dolby Atmos or even high-res audio. Now let's talk about the processing power. The Pixel 6a is powered by the Tensor chipset, which is an octa-core clocked at 2.8 GHz versus the Snapdragon 778G, which is also an octa-core but clocked at a slightly lower 2.5 GHz. So we have a 5nm chipset versus a 6nm chipset. Mali G78 versus Adreno 642L. Both have LPDDR5 RAM and UFS 3.1 storage. So the Pixel 6a is 6 plus 128 variant and the Nothing Phone 1 is 8 plus 128 variant. Neither phone support microSD expansion or have a headphone jack. Alright, so it's time for my favorite test, the cameras. Now both phones have a pretty good camera setup. Now I don't need to mention how good the Pixel is when it comes to cameras. So we have dual cameras in both phones. The Pixel has a 12.2 megapixel primary and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. The Nothing Phone 1 has a 50 megapixel primary and a 50 megapixel ultra wide. And on the front you can see slightly different camera locations. Pixel has an 8 megapixel centered camera and the Nothing Phone 1 has a 16 megapixel in the corner. And if we're just comparing megapixels, I guess the Nothing Phone 1 would win. But we all know by now megapixels are not everything. So we do need a side-by-side to really judge which one performs the best. So let's take a look at some samples. Now starting off with video capture, both cameras are shooting 4K 30 with stabilization on, and I believe both support optical and electronic image stabilization. The Pixel can actually shoot 4K 60, whereas the Nothing is limited to 4K 30. So I'm shooting 4K 30 on both to even the playing field, and both video clips are looking pretty good to me. But which one do you prefer? Which one looks more stable to you? Do let me know in the comments. So switching to the front cameras, shooting full HD video on both, and both phones are locked to 30 FPS max. So let me know what you guys think of the front facing video. Okay, time to compare some photos. The Pixel shoots 12 megapixel standard and the Nothing Phone 1 can shoot either 12 or 50 megapixel shots. So apples to apples, 12 megapixel shots on both primary lens. Not much thought, just point and shoot, and here are the results side by side. Alright, so time for a few selfies to test the front cameras, including indoor shots too. So that was a very quick camera comparison, photos and videos. Let me know what you guys think of the results. Which one are you leaning towards? Alright, so quick look at the DRMs. You can see that both phones have Google Widevine Level 1 certifications. Also, both phones do support Netflix HD, but the Pixel 6a also supports Netflix HDR. And here is CPU-Z, where you can check out the clock speeds. And you can see Mali G78 versus Adreno 642L. And if we go to system, you can see both Android 12 with their respected UIs on top. And there is some further information on kernel, build and root info, etc. Now let's quickly compare the benchmarks, and you can see here Geekbench 5 results. The Pixel 6a achieved a single core score of 1000 versus 715 and multi-core score of 2535 versus 2934. And in the Antutu benchmark test, the Pixel achieved 502K and the Nothing Phone 1 achieved 584K. So interesting results from the benchmarks, and it actually looks like the Nothing Phone 1 has the edge for performance, at least from looking at the benchmark results. And we can also compare the temperatures. So the starting temperatures of each, so Pixel 6 37.9 and the Nothing Phone 1 34 degrees. So that was before we started the benchmark test. And after completing the benchmark test, you can see the Pixel ended with 39.8 degrees and the Nothing Phone 1 was at 35 degrees. So the Pixel 6a actually got hotter during the benchmark tests, but the Nothing Phone 1 maintained its temperature but at the same time achieved a better result. Alright, time for some gaming, and we're comparing the COD graphics settings first of all. Now both phones allow you to select very high graphics and maximum frame rate at the same time, but neither phone gives you the option for ultra frame rate. So let's quickly check out some gameplay, starting off with the Pixel 6a. So after a very quick game of Call of Duty, we're going to check out the temperatures. So CPU temperature is around 45-46 degrees Celsius and battery temperature 42.8. So that was playing COD on Google Pixel 6. Okay, so we're now going to play Call of Duty on the Nothing Phone 1.
Capturing A. Enemy taking Charlie. We captured A. Enemy has C. Contact with enemy. Targets in sight. Enemy contact. Enemy taking B. Contact with enemy. Enemy contact. Enemy in sight. Enemy has Bravo. Target down. Lost now capturing Bravo. We captured the lead. Changing mag, cover me. Captured B. Enemy in sight. Enemy contact.
So after a single game of Call of Duty on the Nothing Phone 1, you can see the temperatures are currently at 43 degrees Celsius and the battery temperature is at 38 degrees. So I just want to quickly compare the graphic settings of PUBG Mobile. Starting off with the Pixel 6a, HDR is supported. Okay, Ultra HD is not working and UHD is also not working. So maximum graphics selectable is HDR and maximum frame rate is Ultra. Now on the Nothing Phone 1, maximum graphics selectable is HDR and the same Ultra HD and UHD is not available, and you've got Ultra frame rate. So exactly the same graphics and frame rate is supported in PUBG Mobile. So you can expect more or less the same performance. I'm just going to give you guys a quick taste of the gameplay. So we've got identical graphics and frame rate. The game looks and plays the same. Same graphics, same detailing. Both playing very smooth. Yeah. Looking nice on both phones. So that was just a very quick taste of PUBG Mobile. So there you have it, guys. That was my quick comparison test between the Google Pixel 6a versus the Nothing Phone 1. Now both phones are offering amazing value for the money. The overall experience on both is pretty impressive. For $399, this is what I call bang for your buck. Now I hope this video has helped you see the main differences between these two phones. Also, do let me know which one you would want from these two phones. Please hit the like button if you appreciate my efforts. Meanwhile, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.